Thanks very much, Sophie. Let's get stuck into today's topics. Now, 7 out of 10 disabled pensioners are going to lose their winter fuel payments this year. Those are figures released by the Department for Work and Pensions, estimating that almost 800,000 pensioners will miss out on the benefit under new plans. And medical experts are warning that people could die this winter as a result of the cold, so it's heat or eat. Now, joining me now is the retired civil servant, William Pickup. William, thank you very much for your company. Where are you at on this? This, of course, wasn't a manifesto commitment, but Labour argue that it's necessary to actually reduce the £22 billion black hole that they inherited.
Well, this isn't going to affect me personally, but it's going to affect my wife, who got to being a pensioner, state pensioner before me. It really isn't an issue for us. We're reasonably comfortably off, and we're okay without it, and we have given the money to charity in the past. But what's important is not people like me. We're irrelevant. It's the people who are going to die as a result of this government enacting this policy almost instantaneously. And even if they manage to get more people to claim pension credit, we know today there's probably 750,000 people who will be claiming pension credit as a result of this, who won't get the go-ahead from the government in time to receive the winter fuel allowance.
Yes.
It's quite shocking, really. I'm really opposed to it. I mean, for me, the solution is to leave it a year. And in a year's time, those people who have applied for pension credit will get it, and those people who don't get it will have had a year to save for next winter. There is no time for them to act at all now.
Now, William, some people have been arguing that actually there is an intergenerational issue here where pensioners are doing better off than the youngest in society who are just coming in to the labour market, trying to get on the housing ladder, fighting all of these pressures of student debt or whatever else, and that actually this is a necessary rebalancing of the economy in favour of the young. Now, I happen to think that this is all getting very dangerous and they're pitting young against old, but do you find any merit in that argument?
I think there's merit in the argument. It's really tough for younger people today to get on the housing ladder. There's no question at all about that. It's extremely tough for them. On the other side, they will be inheriting properties from their parents and the grandparents worth hundreds of thousands of pounds more than we did when I was a lot younger. Yeah. So there is some benefit for that. I've got nothing wrong with any sort of rebalancing going on. I have got a problem if it means pensioners are killed as a result of it.
How much onus do you put on that fact that actually energy bills are going to go up by almost 10% this winter? That actually, to do it right now at this point, actually maybe we should get rid of the green tariffs on energy bills and all of this net zero nonsense, and that actually would render the winter fuel payment completely unnecessary.
I agree entirely with that. These supplements in terms of green energy are completely wrong. It's a long way off before any sort of climate change is significantly going to affect us, if at all. The deaths are going to happen in months. I mean, last year I think it was about 5,000 pensioners died. How many more are going to die as a result of this? The government doesn't know. It's done no impact assessment. And what's even worse, I don't think the government care.
Yeah. All right, William, we'll leave that there. Thank you very much to William Pickup, the retired civil servant, for offering us his opinion on all of that. Right, we're going to see what my panel make of this now. The political commentator Matthew Stadlin on my left, OBS, and the former co-deputy leader of Reform UK, Ben Habib, on my right. Matt, I'll start with you because a lot of people are messaging in saying that actually they're second-guessing what you're going to say, Matthew, but I think you might surprise them right now. Take it away.
Well, it's an interesting position to be in for me as someone who routinely criticised, I think totally fairly and accurately, the Conservative government that we had before the election. Now we've got a Labour government that I've always said I broadly support under Keir Starmer's leadership over the last 2 or 3 years. And of course, they're going to make mistakes, and inevitably they will do things that some, such as myself, who back them or voted for them, are going to criticise, and that's quite right. They need to be robustly held to account, not just by the right, after all, there are only 121 Tory MPs left, but also from people in the media. And on this particular issue, I think they've got it wrong, and I think they've got it quite spectacularly wrong. I think they've got it wrong politically. I think it's an own goal. But I also think the policy itself is wrong.
Why?
Now, the reason I think it's wrong is because although with the triple lock, pensions are going up, and although pensioners are by no means the only constituency in our country that are suffering, there is widespread poverty in Britain, let's be absolutely frank about that, and it's not just older people who suffer from the cold. Despite that, we know that older people do have a particular problem when temperatures drop, and of course in the summer when they go up. And to do this with such short notice, so that hundreds of thousands of people who would actually be entitled to this winter fuel allowance, despite it being withdrawn from the majority of pensioners, but they won't fill in the forms in time, maybe because they're complicated or because they're not used to filling in forms, that for me is a serious mistake.
Yeah. Yes. Now, Ben, I assume actually on this you're going to be like a nest of singing birds, which I didn't anticipate it when I first looked at the panel, put it that way. But do you agree with what?
Well, I would go one step further. I mean, I agree with everything Matt said, but I'd go one step further, and I'd come back to a point you made, to that very sensible retired civil servant, that actually if we got our energy policy sorted out, we dropped green taxes, for example, we used our naturally available gas in the North Sea, we didn't tax the companies 75% in order to extract it, Labour's going to increase it to 78%. If we got our economy sorted out,